So welcome back, everybody. I hope you managed to get something to drink in that short break. So for the next section of the afternoon, we're just going to be concentrating on some of the challenges that have been faced by A-liNE over the last year and during the pandemic. So we're going to be talking about the digitalisation of A-liNE throughout the pandemic. The first speaker really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. So that's Dr. C Browell. Dr. Browell is the current A-liNE director. I'll start again because we're just getting a bit of feedback there. So Dr. Browell is the current A-liNE director. You've met him already today, right back at the start of the day. Aside from anaesthesia and A-liNE, Chris has been devoted to the Northern Deanery, working to develop projects for medical students, foundation doctors, trainees, and consultants throughout his training and post-CCT, including Pipeline, the Northern Anaesthetic Pedal, and the Open Mic Night. Thank you, Chris. We can see your slides, so I'm going to hand over to you.
Thanks very much, Monica. So I've just got a few minutes now where I'm going to talk a little bit just about A-liNE as an organisation and how we as an organisation tried to help our courses digitalise throughout the pandemic. Just waiting for my slides. I'm sort of going to have the most technical problems after everyone else has been so effortlessly slick. As I mentioned right at the beginning, we have 8 domains that our courses fall into. And we've heard really eloquently over the first session about all of those courses and a huge amount of data about how they've run over the last year. But what does that actually mean in terms of numbers? Well, every year, Barbara coordinates 37 individual courses through those 8 domains. Because some of those courses run on a 4-monthly or 6-monthly cycle, that results in 70 course runnings over a calendar year. And if we look at the number of days in a year when an A-liNE course runs, that equals 145. And with 250 working days of the year, that is over 50% of those working days when an A-liNE course is running. In 2019, of those 37 individual courses, 100% of them ran face-to-face. And then our perspective changed. Our specialty across both anaesthesia and intensive care were put under extreme pressure. Our working patterns, pressures, protocols, personal risk, and rotas changed. We started working night shifts more frequently, we upskilled, stepped across different thresholds into different areas, and we watched the organisation we all work for in the NHS creak under the pressure. Individually and personally, our lives changed as well. We had new stresses, closure of childcare settings. Personally, and for a lot of our trainees, the ways the exams were run changed, they were cancelled. And it's only now that we're starting to see the light, certainly in the UK, and the way out of this. But none of that is news to anyone here. But I just wanted to highlight it because the same people who are staffing the night shifts, rewriting the rotas, covering the ITU departments, working extra shifts to cover the strain of the NHS, were the same people running our courses, rewriting programs, reorganising the way things were delivered. As a result of all their work, when we look back at the courses we've delivered over the last year, over 50% of them are digital. And I find that inspiring and impressive, and I must again commend the course faculty and organisers for that work. We've heard already, and specifically Dr. Whitehouse has mentioned some outstanding pieces of work which have really, in a way, capitalised on the pressure to change and deliver education in a different manner. Delivering education digitally is something that if we decided to do it in normal times would take years of discussion and planning and preparation and feedback, but it happened all of a sudden. NEOAM, Leveling the Field, Critical Concepts, and the online FRCA written exam were born out of hard work and have enabled so many more people access to A-line education. And again, I must thank the organisers and the team of this not exhaustive list for their efforts and their work on this side of things. As an organisation, what do we do in the future? Well, a few of our domain leads, our course leads, have already mentioned this afternoon plans for the future, whether to remain digital or return face-to-face. And it's a really difficult question. And as an organisation, we certainly don't have any pressure to lean one way or the other, only to support where we can. Looking at that balancing box, well, some of our exams are going to remain online, certainly in the short term. And therefore, it makes sense that our exams that we offer, our mock exams, stay in the same format, because that offers a much better way of preparing for that specific examination. The COVID vaccine seems to be making a big impact, and certainly we're seeing numbers falling dramatically in the UK, and that is a very positive thing, leading us back to delivering our courses in a face-to-face manner. Graduated improvement, well, our courses have run for decades, and every time a course runs, it receives feedback, it improves, and it improves the quality and how that's delivered. And that's been done face-to-face so long that we can really lean on that improvement and go back to those improved courses and those good quality courses face-to-face. So that is something we shouldn't turn our backs on too quickly. I'm going to put efficiency and accessibility together, because delivering courses in a digital format certainly has its benefits. We can reach a much wider audience. We can deliver it in a more efficient manner by pre-recording, as you've seen some of our talks have been done today. We're reducing expenses for both faculty and candidates, and we're probably reducing our carbon footprint too. And all of those are huge positives. You can't get away from the fact, though, it's very difficult to deliver hands-on practical experience as well as simulation unless we maintain our face-to-face courses. We all want to return to normal in some way, and there's definitely something to be said for course climate, where we get to meet our peers, meet the faculty. It's been mentioned earlier on this afternoon. It really is often a great learning experience to attend a course face-to-face. There is some uncertainty about the future of COVID, different strains, efficacy of the vaccine, and there's not outside of our minds the possibility to returning entirely to digital formats and further lockdown. And that is certainly a positive for the digital side of our educational courses. And a few months ago, we were looking at intensive care workload, patients in intensive care units outstripping what we could deliver. Now we're looking at a different kind of workload in the backlog of routine, elective, urgent work that needs to come through our theatre suites. And this certainly is going to put pressure on our clinical staff, our faculties, and in some ways, digitalising our courses maintains an efficient way of delivering those pieces of education. I'm going to put efficiency and accessibility back on that pile, because I think that is a huge thing. And I think that really does lean many of our faculties towards delivering their courses digitally for that reason. In summary of this slide, the points here are we try and deliver our courses the best way for our faculty and not push too hard in one direction, only really support in a way that enables them to deliver the best quality education. So in summary, in the last year, we've learned a lot. We've moved very rapidly forward in being able to deliver these courses in a digital format. And it's taken a lot of work. Faculties have worked really hard. A lot of hours have been put in, and I can't really thank them enough for all their efforts to achieve that percentage of 54% digitally, as well as really managing to run all of our courses by the end of 2020. We've clearly all spent too much time wearing masks and looking at computer screens. But A-line's benefited in some ways in that we've seen, as been mentioned before, a huge number or a huge increase in our numbers of candidates sitting our A-line courses. And we've seen some brilliant innovations, and I'm really keen to continue to support these innovations because they're offering something new that we've not seen before. So that's all from me for now. Thank you very much, and I'm going to hand you back to our hosts.
Thank you, Chris. I think it is truly humbling to think what this group of people, by that I mean the A-line faculty, their colleagues, have achieved within the last year.
We're now going to move on and hear from Dr. Jay and Dr. Samir Ahmed. Jay is an ST7 anaesthetic trainee in the Northern Deanery. His interests include technology, regional and neuroanaesthesia, and he was lead faculty for Levelling the Field, NEOM, and now leads the newly formed Digital Hub. Dr. Samir Ahmed is a specialty doctor in anaesthesia with a special interest in regional anaesthesia. He has a passion for teaching and has taught at several regional anaesthesia courses and workshops, as well as the Northumbrian Airway workshop. As Director of Health Promotion Team and Mentor of Organ Donation Awareness Team, he promotes awareness in organ donation to reduce health disparities in the BAME communities. He is a force to behold pioneering Levelling the Field and are now approaching Caesar Day. He is a member of the A-line Digital Hub. We can see your slides, so I'll hand over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction, Monica and Sarah. So today, I'm just going to give a brief talk that will consist of a few lessons that we've learned over the last year or so, running courses, webinars, and share some tips and experience that we went through, and take the opportunity also to introduce our new team of the Digital Hub that's recently been added to the ever-expanding A-line. So, as we are all aware, the last year has been quite tough on all of us due to the pandemic. And this had a huge impact on the meetings and courses and conferences that we all used to attend. Most of them had to be cancelled or rescheduled. And eventually what happened was we all had to move on to the digital format due to the social distancing. So in order to overcome this, we had to adapt and provide all the vital courses in a digital format. And I'm sure, although most of us are all missed going into this mass conferences, having face-to-face meetings, the current kind of circumstances dictates that we all have to sit in front of a computer or a laptop to attend all these courses and conferences. So having run about 3 webinars in the last 5 months or so, here are the few things that we've learned and possibly a few tips that we can provide to the all of you if you're planning to organize or run a digital webinar or courses in the future. The first thing is use the pre-recording as demonstrated by today's AGM. If you have any speakers who are not available on the day of the meeting or the conference, it doesn't matter anymore due to the flexibility of pre-recording that provides. Always think about also to record the whole session as well, whether it be the webinar or the course of the meeting. They can be edited quite easily and can be uploaded onto the platforms such as YouTube or other websites. And I think that provides also a platform for other people who are not able to attend on the day to look back and go back to watch the course or the webinar, which is also something that the Advantage digital platform provides. Think about the number of the people registered and think about people that are planning to attend the course. There are unfortunately some limits to how many people can attend depending on different platforms. For example, Zoom may have limits to say of 100 people able to log in at the same time to attend the course. And if you want to increase that number, then you have to pay some extra fees to increase the threshold. So always bear that in mind. So one of the ways to solve this issue is using kind of live streaming service provided by Facebook or YouTube, which is currently being implemented on this AGM, or also successfully implemented on NEOM. And always be wary that there can always be some technical difficulties, whether it be speakers' internet not being reliable or having some technical issues with the presentation itself not loading up. Having experienced some difficulties on our first webinar that we ran, Leveling the Field, it became evident to us very quickly that if anything like this happens in the future, it is always good to have some topics kind of prepared and talk about or discuss about when something like this unexpected happens. Also, it is also important to have everybody, every speakers kind of stand by in case that if there is some technical difficulties, you can always bring the speaker forward to take over whilst this technical issue is being solved. And to run a day like today or any kind of big webinars, it's always good to have some dedicated people to run the day. Setting up takes time, and it always takes more than one person to run it smoothly. So this is why we feel that having a dedicated team to run a session like today is very important. And the way we view it is that this digital format isn't going to go away anytime soon. So always have that bear that in mind. And we are, the Digital Hub team is here to provide the support. Have a plan for the day. Come up with a schedule and print it out. We found that this kind of this helped tremendously. Having a timeline of who's speaking when and who's coming on what time, and also kind of prompt us into who is doing what at what time. So for example, we all have a timeline as into who's speaking at what time, and we have somebody dedicated to prompt the speaker to get ready so that they are able to come online and take over straight away without any delays to ensure that everything runs smoothly. And this helps tremendously to run the webinar smoothly as well. Always think about the CPD points. If you're going to run a webinar or a meeting, having a CPD points will attract more people, as we found out firsthand on Leveling the Field and NEOM. Since the CPD points have been confirmed, the number of people registered did increase quite significantly. So always bear that in mind and apply for CPD points if you can. So that is few lessons that we've learned and tips. Thank you for your attention. And now I'll hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Samir Ahmed, who is waiting patiently next to me. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jay, for putting everyone to sleep. This is the exciting bit coming up, so if you are asleep, it's time to wake up. So a lot of you may be wondering what I'm doing at the Digital Hub, but I think Chris was just desperate to find, and he couldn't find anyone else. So someone like me, a dinosaur, is here at the helping out with the Digital Hub. But it's also a good example to see that if I can adapt to this thing which is happening, the digitalization, the transformation, then anyone can. So what are we here for, the Digital Hub team? We are here to facilitate courses to run the content digitally, and also help advise on new courses or content which can help with digital transformation. We can also help with the branding of the course so that it can reach wider audiences, and also with the venue for if it's complete online or hybrid or even face-to-face, so that the course can become a bit more attractive. what we are going to do in the next few weeks or months is we're going to contact each course lead and discuss how things can change to facilitate going at digital. What I would advise is for anyone involved with any course to start thinking of whether it needs to change. So if it's something like, if you asked me in March last year what my plans of living in the field was, I would have said, no, we are just going to continue with face-to-face. This is not something which we can do digitally. But yeah, it happened, and I think it happened for the better. And as you've seen already with what happened with leveling the field, I think similarly it's good for everyone to just think of whether it can bring any advantages to it, of either going online or going in a hybrid mode, with it being face-to-face and online. We can help your course reach wider audiences. We can help design posters, make promo videos which can go on social media. And we can also help you get faculty from anywhere in the world, like what we are doing at the moment. So if you want to get a renowned speaker, an expert from somewhere else, then we will be very happy to facilitate that. We'll also help you create more social media presence by targeting marketing towards the social media, reach wider audiences. That's all I have to say for digital transformation. A lot of it has already been discussed by Chris and Jay. What I would say is that I hope that today will be a good example of how a study day or a conference can run digitally smooth. But we have just started. We are a very small team, so we are looking to expand more. So please, if you think you have those skills or you want to develop the skills in this area, feel free to contact Chris or Barbara and join us. We'll take questions at the end. Thanks very much.
Thank you both for your excellent presentation and valuable hints and tips. These will be very useful for future events, and it's great to have the support from the Digital Hub.